say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
SPEAKROC, that's the team that I'm with. SPEAKROC, don't it make a lot of sense? SPEAKROC, yeah, we speak to each other. Hey, young man, be a brother to another, Put the other things aside, throw away the fakeness. All my brothers got the key to achieve greatness. Let nobody bring you down when you tryna reach the top. Let them know what you represent, tell them SPEAKROC. Let's make a change for the best. Let your voice be heard, let your words be expressed. Brothers and sisters, set a goal to the top. If anybody got your back, let them know it's SPEAKROC.
Hey, yo, Guap, that was dope. Hey, just gotta keep telling them what it is out here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you already know, man.
Hey, we doing this one for the D. What up, though?
What up, though?
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though, brothers and sisters? This is your brother SPEAKROC. Hey, man, I am so happy and I am so glad to be with you all on this Sunday evening. Hey, look, had a couple of issues. The weather seemed like as if it wants to mess with the power. So I had power that went out on me. So I apologize for not starting on time and prompt. I pride myself on being prompt because I appreciate you all taking time out of your day to be with me, SPEAKROC. So, hey, look, I'm not going to waste much time because I am very excited today because got some big things going on. Those of you who've kept up with my social media, you'll see that I got a very blessed interview today. And look, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. I have on the phone with me today one of the most up and coming, one of the most prolific, one of the most groundbreaking, I think, young people that Detroit has to offer. And I feel it's about time that the world gets to know and see more of the young product, the young powerful product that Detroit is producing. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce, and I am proud to introduce. As a matter of fact, I am very humbled by doing this interview. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce this young lady as Safispeaks. How you doing, young lady?
How you doing, brother? Man, thanks for that powerful introduction. I'm honored by that, brother. Thank you.
It's all good. You are deserving of it. And I believe by the time we finish this interview, everybody is going to see why. And they're going to see that I'm just not selling wolf tickets and I'm just not up here talking, but that I'm coming, I'm coming with some receipts because you're going to back it up for me. Sounds good?
Oh, absolutely. Sounds great. Let's get into it.
Good deal. Hey, look, real quick though. I just want to jump into it. You are, what they would call a Renaissance type woman. Okay. Someone that is engaged in quite a bit. And, I'm going to just highlight a couple of those things and I'll just want you to come in and introduce yourself and speak on some things that I missed. One of the things that I saw, you are a poet. You speak spoken word. You are a college student, educated individual who has found their ways into the political world as it pertains to its inner workings. You are a child of a minister. So I don't know if it'd be safe to say that, you got a little word, got a little preacher in you. Just saying.
Maybe a little bit.
Just throwing that out there. So, all right. So that's me. I'm going to stop poking at you and go ahead and introduce yourself to the SPEAKROC audience and tell us what you're about.
Yes, sir. So once again, I'm Safi. You hit the nail right on the head. I am a student here in the city of Detroit, and my passion within education is to deal with public policy, specifically with healthcare reform, because I believe that affects not only Black people but poor people alike. And so my goal is to enter the realm of politics with the people kind of supporting me so that I can deal with justice and making sure that people have access to the things that are necessary for them to live in America with. So my goal is to deal with the social ills that affect us. So that's my little background with education. I am a poet. I perform spoken word poetry. That's another way of getting my message out to people in a creative way. I just started a podcast series a few weeks ago called The Preamble. And with that, my goal is to deal with community education in regards to the political system and with voting. Brother, when you and I connected, it was just shortly after the 2016 presidential election. And we talked a lot about how people are just apathetic towards the system because it just seems like we can't win. And so my goal with my podcast series is to kind of rewrite the beginning of what politics is supposed to mean for those who are marginalized in society. And so with all those things, I'm doing that. I'm getting involved with political campaigns here in the city. One of the bigger things is kind of organizing a voters education and registration event that'll be hitting Detroit in the fall of 2018. And kind of also getting involved with Reverend Dr. Barber's Poor People's Campaign. So it's a lot going on. I'm loving all of it. And it's setting me up for some great success and great opportunities to work with people who are on the same mission as I am.
Wow, Sister Safi, I'm telling you, I pray to God that the listening audience is blown away with your intellect, with the knowledge that you hold, and just it seems that you have a powerful position in life. And I'm here to tell you, and I hope I don't, embarrass you, but I when I noticed what you were doing, and mind you, for the listening audience, I noticed her on social media being active, being engaged. If I'm not mistaken, the first place I became familiar with you was on 910 AM. There's a radio station here. Yes, in Detroit,
yes.
in the Metro Detroit area. And you was giving an interview, and you was doing your spoken word, and I was just like, wow, this is a young lady. And I'm gonna tell you why it struck me so. The power that you were delivering your message. I am a father of teenage girls. And I look at that and I was like, you know what? My goal is to have my girls grow up in this light, to grow up, to be powerful, to be knowledgeable, to be self-respected, to be respected by others. And here's the biggest thing, to have something to bring to the table, a contribution.
Yes, sir. Please
talk to me and explain to me what all occurred in your life, who was influential in your life, and how did you find motivation to be the person that you are today?
Wow. My life experience has been really interesting. I was born and raised here in the city of Detroit. And so this is my home. This is what I know. And there have been some very key individuals in my life that have definitely poured into me and helped me to realize my calling. One of the first individuals definitely being my father. You mentioned that he is a pastor, and a lot of my upbringing has been transparent when it comes to church and what the church should be doing in the community and for the community. And so I've had the opportunity growing up to witness my father in the pulpit preaching the word of God from the perspective of Christ being for justice. And that is a very non-traditional message, if you will. Mm-hmm. I think it's very non-traditional in the sense that a lot of people don't talk about Christ as being one who demands justice for those who are oppressed and marginalized in society. So that kind of perspective of me mixing my faith with activism kind of started from there. And then I also have my grandparents on my mother's side. my grandfather, my late grandfather who just passed away recently, they poured into me so much about African culture, and so much about appreciating the arts. I mean, my very first exposure to African traditionalism and dashikis and African music and culture, all of that came from them. And then witnessing my family going to higher education. My aunt is an attorney, and has always exposed me to her trials as far as like advocating for people who don't have the means to pay for high-end attorneys. And so a lot of that has kind of shaped my view of the world and what justice should look like for people. And then I think one very instrumental part of my growth has been my education. I actually went to private Christian and private Catholic schools from middle school through high school. And a lot of those experiences put me around some conservative folk that had to test my ability to speak truth to power. And so I think those experiences, being around people who didn't think like me, who didn't understand why I was so passionate about justice and liberation for Black people, and who didn't understand the experience of poverty, I think those experiences have helped me to shape my voice. And if it hadn't been for my parents putting me in those positions and exposing me to all the things that I've seen, I honestly wouldn't be the person that I am today.
Wow. Wow. I'm telling you, it is exciting to me on so many levels, because to see a lot of people get excited about young people, because I believe they get excited about the promise that young people bring. And I understand that, and rightfully so. But I like to, it's a special thing when you can look at a person, a young person, or anybody for that matter, but let's just stick with young people. And when you can look at them and you can actually see fruit. It's one thing to see, one thing to see a seed, okay? Because that's the obvious. But it's, man, okay, oh man. Okay, I'm just gonna say this, and I don't want to get into preaching, but I remember when Jesus asked Peter, he said, who do you say that I am? And, Peter started rambling off talking about what other people were saying that Jesus was. Jesus was like, no, who do you say that I am? So to me, that was always special, because Peter saw, by the help of the Spirit of God, he saw who Jesus was. And he said, you are the Christ. With that being said, I think it's a beautiful thing and plenty of our young people have this. And I think that people my age, like I'm old enough to be your dad. Okay. I have a son. Oh yeah, absolutely. I have a son, a little older than you. He's like 3 years older than you. And, but it's a beautiful thing when you can look at a young person and say, this is what you are. This is versus what I want you to be. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? What would you?
I think that's a key statement. I kind of have to go back to my parents on this one, because they've always encouraged me to walk in my own truth. And what you're saying is key. I think a lot of children have potential. And what adults have to be careful to not do is to shape and mold young folk into the people that they want them to be. So for example, before I even started college, my goal wasn't to really be involved in any of this stuff that I'm doing now. I'm passionate about it, but my goal was to actually go into medicine. And my parents were so supportive of that dream and that goal. And as I've had more life experiences, I've realized that the gift that God has given me is to speak to the masses and advocate for those who don't have a voice themselves. And so when I've, kind of had conversations with my parents and I've explained to them this calling, they're like, we totally support it. And I think that what is lacking in our community is the support to the point where children are allowed to express their passions for activism or for whatever it might be in their own unique way. When I think back to even my beginnings in dealing with my thoughts about society and race relations, a lot of that manifested itself in the form of poetry when I was 11 years old. And I remember writing these poems and reading them to my family members, and they were just so supportive. And that was really the beginning of me walking in this calling. And to think about the fact that if my parents would have said, well, you know, art isn't really a great way for you to express yourself, or, you know, maybe you should really rethink all of this, because if you put your life on the line for the people, you might not make as much money, or X, Y, Z. I think it really hinders the growth and the potential that lies within our community. So if anything, for those of us young adults who are coming up and those younger, all we need is the support. You know, you guys have laid the groundwork, but I think it is such a powerful image to have people just be supportive and say, we see your light, we see your gift, we just want to nurture it, rather than shape you and form you into what we want you to be.
This is wonderful. I pray to God that the young people that are listening are understanding that, the path that you've walked, and they're seeing it as a light to say, you know what, there is a truthfulness to who I am. And if she's doing it and she sounds comfortable in her own skin, then I can do it as well. I am so happy to have you join me this evening, because one of the things I've been giving a lot of thought to is the generation tags, if you will, what society tags us as being, millennials, Generation Xers, baby boomers, what have you. I don't like to subscribe to that too much. But a lot of times when you're talking to certain people, it's like you have to use the tags, because if not, they won't understand what you're talking about. So
exactly.
So, but now, even with that being said, a lot of generations, they take it and they run with it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't seen such a zeal with running with a generational tag since the millennials. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've been having a mild concern, just a mild one, about I sense separation. I understand being excited. I understand having a fire. I understand having a passion about what you're connected to. And I would never take that away from anybody. But I am of the belief, and I might find myself in the minority, that I like to think holistically. And I like to believe that, be it the baby boomers, be it the elders, be it my generation, be it your generation, I feel the key is all of us unifying and working together. So can you shed some light on something to say, look, SPEAKROC, let me ease your worries, and let me tell you about the relationship between millennials and Generation Xers and how it all can work.
I think you bring up a really, really great discussion, because as I have attended many events that deal with community activism and political awareness, a lot of times I find myself being one of the youngest people in the room. And when that happens, it automatically becomes like all eyes on me, just for the sake of, saying, oh, there's this young person here, or you have this thought, you have this idea. And I think it's a double-edged sword, because on one side, it's like, okay, I do get to represent, young people my age, and I can speak to what we would like to see happen for our community. But you are right in the fact that in many cases, when it's brought up, it is divisive, because there's a stigma attached to this bracket of ages. And a lot of times with younger people, what's said is, we don't really have a real passion for anything. We're lost, we're confused, we contribute to the crashing of the housing market, all these things. And what it does for the young mind is it makes you resent the people who do that to you. And what we can't afford to allow to happen in our community is to have all of these people who are our elders, who lived through the civil rights movement, who were part of major campaigns that helped to even put us in this position now. We can't afford to have those people separate themselves from us, nor can young people separate themselves from those great leaders, because there will be a great disconnect in the transfer of, I think, energy and power of the Black movement that's been here for such a long time. Now, to give you some hope, what I do see a lot of is, in some of the settings that I work in, is a lot of collaboration. I had the opportunity to meet with and form a really, really great connection with Professor Junius Williams, who actually was a coordinator with SPEAKROC. And I have stayed in contact with him, and we met recently when he was here in Detroit. And something that was so powerful to me that he said in our conversation was that, you know, older folk have to realize that, you know, the life of the movement now lies in the hands of younger generations. It is now their obligation and responsibility to impart their wisdom, but they cannot themselves lead the movement. It is now our time to lead. And I think that was powerful, because this is coming from a man who's 60 plus years old. And working with him and other people his age who understand the importance of empowerment for the youth, I think that there is hope in the sense that we can work together. But I do think that we have to move past this whole millennial, Generation X, all of that conversation, because in the Black community, I think we're divided enough sometimes in ideology or our strategies and, you know, actually progressing our community. And so, you know, the age discussion is just, I think that it's nothing that is really substantial or is going to move us forward. But when I run into people who understand the importance of us all working together, hope is restored for me.
Man, I'm just sitting here blown away. It's like, what?
Wow.
Is this like MSNBC? Is this like CNBC? Like, what's going on right now? Like this is,
wow, man, thank you.
This is good stuff, man. This is good stuff. But look, let's get a little bit more into you, because I'm curious. I want to talk about your brand and how you're expanding that brand. I want to know, and I want the listening audience to know, just, you know, take us inside, if you will. Take us behind the curtain and let us know how you came up with Safispeaks and how you're using that to brand into things such as, you know, podcasting and blogging.
Absolutely. So I use the term Safi and Safispeaks because it is directly connected to who I am as an individual. So my name, Kayla, actually means pure. And when I was looking for a name that I wanted to use when doing poetry and working with other readers, I wanted to, number one, have something that spoke to me and who I was as an individual. But there was something about purity and me truly being myself 100% all of the time. And so as I strive to be transparent with people, I always want to be the purest form of myself. And Safi in Swahili means pure. And I just chose the Swahili dialect simply because it is a merging of multiple African dialects. And I think that my life has also been a merging of multiple thoughts and ideologies. And it was just a beautiful way for me to portray myself. And as I've expanded Safispeaks, all that I do is represented by that name. So with my podcast and my poetry, everything is going to be 100% pure. You're going to get my thoughts, my beliefs all the time. I don't believe that I have to change my viewpoints for anyone. I don't believe that I have to, alter my message simply because of who's listening or who the crowd is. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap sometimes, but I'm excited because when I was, originally using Safispeaks, it was simply for poetry. It was something that I thought was creative and best represented me. But now as I've grown and I've seen the potential of the name, I am using it for everything that flows from me because it is 100% pure and 100% God inspired. So that's a little bit of the background, and hopefully that answers your question.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, because that answers my question because it's authentic. You spoke from the heart, and I think that's all anyone can ask from you. And I can see younger people, not to say that people older than you wouldn't be curious to know, but I can see how everything you just said is inspiring to young people. And I'm talking about to as young as they can be to understand, and all the way up to your age. So, look, man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, look, let's get into this real quick. Cause we're getting ready to wrap up, but, one of the staples and the tenets of my platform as SpeakROC, whenever I make a post or anything, I'll always put spirit, purpose, and conviction. I believe these are my driving forces, okay? And I have to have an understanding of those. So what I want to do is, as I'm interviewing, I want to ask, and I know it's a little on the spot, but I want to ask you, what do these mean to you and how will you describe them? So first, let's start with spirit, okay? What is your spirit?
A great question. I think to define it for myself, my spirit is pure. Say my spirit is focused and my spirit is excellent. Like all three of those things.
Okay. We're doing good. All right.
Okay.
Purpose. What is your purpose?
My purpose is to use my voice to speak to the masses, to restore justice and hope to society, and to ultimately lead others to Christ.
Beautiful. Awesome. Conviction. What convicts you? When I say that, it's in reference to what you do, who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to go back to my roots and kind of to tie into everything that I've just said, my conviction ultimately comes from the power of the Holy Spirit. I think that is the ultimate source of my conviction, and something that I think about all the time is what does my conviction lead me to do? And there are kind of two scriptures that I kind of live my life by, and that's Luke 4 verses 18 and 19, and then Isaiah 1:17. And then in Luke it just says that, to paraphrase, that the Spirit of the Lord has called me as a believer to proclaim the good news to the poor, to proclaim freedom for the prisoners, and to set the oppressed free. And then Isaiah 1 verses 17 says that my job is to seek justice, defend the oppressed, and take up the cause of the fatherless. And without the Holy Spirit, I don't think I would recognize my purpose and my calling to do that. So that is the source of my spirit, my conviction, and my purpose.
Safi, your light is shining bright. It is just,
thank you, Brother Rock,
radiant. Like, this is, I can't sit here and say like, oh, your future is bright. Okay, yeah, it might be bright, but what you're doing right now is bright. Man, this is,
wow.
This is powerful, man. Like, look, I knew it was something. Look, here's what's funny. I'm gonna make you laugh real quick. Like people talk about me, like, my passion or whatever, or my drive, or, my attitude. And I'm like, man, look, I'm the least of y'all worries. it's some people out here that got a fire burning, so just a roaring fire. Like, I don't know what y'all gonna do.
Yes,
and
sir.
you are one of those. When I saw you and I heard you speak, I was like, my God, like this is like a female, like me times 10. Like she, I'm
Man,
serious.
that's an honor to hear you say that, because you're doing some big things, brother. You are.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yes.
God is blessing. He's sustaining me. He's strengthening me every day. And you know this. I mean,
Absolutely.
every day is a
Yeah.
challenge that you have to persevere through. You have to show resilience. You have to be able to make it for others. And I take that as a responsibility, and I take it very serious. So
Yes, sir.
man, this is awesome. Look, this is what I want you to do. Two things. Give us some parting
Yes, sir.
words of what you would say to, what do you say to anybody? I'm not even going to say young people. Because the way you speak, you transcend. You have an audience across the board. So can you just leave us with something to, far as some words of affirmation to take us into our tomorrow? And after you're done doing that, please give us your contact. How can we get in touch with you? How do we get in contact with your social medias? Let us know the best way so that we can get plugged in with Safispeaks.
Yes, sir. Just to leave everyone listening with some words, all I have to say is all of us were created with a purpose and for a purpose. And in this life, we have an opportunity to live that purpose out, and to live for something greater than ourselves, or to allow ourselves to be average and sit back while the world is waiting for our gift. And so for anyone who is listening, I implore you, I encourage you to dig deep. Find out what your why is. What keeps you up at night? What are you passionate about? What would you like to see change in your home or in your community or for yourself? And when you find that thing that you are so passionate about, begin to jot down some ideas about what you can do to make happen for change to occur in our communities and society. I think that a lot of times we wait for people to lead us, but I want to encourage everyone and say that we are the leaders that we have been waiting for. And once you awaken to what your calling is and what your purpose is, I guarantee you that life will change. You will begin to see that your perspective will become much different, and you will recognize the power that you have to create the change that you're seeking.
Awesome. And please give us as much as you can give us as it pertains to your contact, as it pertains to your blog, as it pertains to your podcast, your social media, everything.
Yes, sir. You can follow me at Safispeaks, SAFISPEAKS. I'm on Twitter, Instagram with that username handle. To hear my podcast, the Preamble Podcast, I'm on SoundCloud right now. All you have to do is type in SoundCloud and search the Preamble Podcast. I will come up right at the top, and I will have some more things coming out. So if you follow me on social media, you'll see all the events that I post for people in the community to attend. You'll see the events that I'll be attending, speaking at, all of those things. So follow me on social media, and my email as well is safispeaks@gmail.com. And that's one of the best ways to get in touch with me.
There you go. That's it. Hey, look, Sister Safi, thank you for blessing the listening audience here at SpeakRoc. Thank you so much.
Oh, man, thank you so much for having me. I'm telling you, since that 9-10 a.m. interview, you have been one of my most solid and most consistent supporters. And so I love you, man. I appreciate you.
Hey, no worries. Hey, look, I just thank you for being here. And hey, look, everybody in the SpeakRoc listening community, make sure that you follow the Sister Safi Speaks. She's doing big things. Look, I see something like, I don't know, Senator, Congresswoman, President, Just saying, Supreme Court Justice, something, so, hey, look, you can say that you heard Sister Safi here, and we was all blessed by today. Sister, have a great rest of your weekend, and have a great week in Jesus' name.
Thank you, brother. You too.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.
All right, you was just listening to SpeakRoc interview Safispeaks. Hey, y'all, thank you for everything. Thank y'all for being here. Hey, just remember, I'm a brother from Detroit. What do I know? Hey, I might know a little. I might know a lot. I might not know nothing. But in either event, we can live, laugh, and learn. And we can go ahead and have a blessed day. This is your brother SpeakRoc. I'm out.